Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. We are continuing in our series of women in the Bible. So last week we talked about Sarai, and this week we're talking about Hagar. So their stories are connected. Like I said last week, I wanted to give them their own um, video because I feel like they need to be talked about separately as opposed to joined together, because they, even though their stories are connected, they have their own stories, they have their own experiences, right? So we talked about in chapter 16 how Sarai got impatient and she was like, hey, Abram, go sleep with Hagar so that I can have a child through her, like, my seed or the nations will come through her. Her child will be my child. She will be the surrogate. So we're going to pick up at verse 4, chapter 16, verse 4. And he went into Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. So Hagar was like, hold up. I slept with this man. I'm pregnant now. This is my child. I'm not giving him up. Hagar was like, no, this is my child. And Sarai said to Abram, my wrong be upon you. I gave my female servant into your bosom, and when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. Let Yahweh judge between you and me. And Abraham said to Sarai, see, your female servant is in your hand. Do to her what is good in your eyes. And Sarai treated her harshly, and she fled from her presence. And the messenger of Yahweh found her by a spring of water in the wilderness, by the spring on the way to Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's female servant, where have you come from, and where are you going? He's like, why are you here? And where do you think you're going? And she said, I am fleeing from the presence of Sarai, my mistress. And the messenger of Yahweh said to her, return to your mistress and humble yourself under her hand, right? Don't run from your problems. Everything will be fine. Just return to her, be humble, you know, and do as she says. And the messenger of Yahweh said to her, I'm going to increase your seed greatly, too numerous to be counted. And the messenger of Yahweh said to her, see, you are conceiving and bearing a son, and you shall call his name Yishmael, which means Yahweh will hear, because Yahweh has heard your affliction, and he is to be a wild man, his hand against everyone, and everyone's hand against him, and dwell over against all his brothers. And she called the name of Yahweh, who spoke to her, you are the El who sees. For she said, even here have I seen after him who sees me. That is why the well was called Beer Lahai Roy. See, it is between Kadesh and Bered or Bered, right? So she is like, I don't want to go back because of how I am being treated. And Yahweh was like, I understand that. However, you are her maidservant. And according to the law, as a maidservant, you are to stay with your mistress, your master, whoever owns you. You are to stay there, but you will be fine. I promise you. I will increase your seed and I will make great nation out of your son. But you have to go back. You have to be obedient. As a maidservant, you have to be obedient. You have to obey your master. You have to. That's just like at a job. We have to obey our supervisors. Whatever our supervisor says, we have to do. Now, when it gets to be illegal and unethical, that's a different story, right? But outside of that, you are to obey whoever is ruling over you. You can't just run from your problems. That's not going to make it go away. It's not, because where are you running to? Where are you going to go? Like Yoda asked her, where are you going? Where where could you possibly go? You have nothing with you. You have no clothes, no food. I'm assuming she doesn't have anything with her, to take wherever she thought she was going. But you have nothing with you. You don't know anyone. You're a maidservant. What are you gonna do? No, go back, deal with your problem, humble yourself, you know? And that's the thing, like, people are so ready to give up and quit a situation because it gets too hard instead of enduring the situation, right? Like Yahusha said, those who endure to the end will be saved. there are certain situations that we just need to be patient and we need to endure, because we will be blessed if we endure that situation. So it says, and Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram called the name of his son, whom Hagar bore, Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to Abram, right? And so then it talks about Noah giving him the covenant and changing his name, Abraham's name, and having him circumcised. So let's flip over to chapter 21, starting at verse 8. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abram made a great feast on the day that Yishak was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Mitzrite, whom she had borne to Abraham, mocking. So she said to Abraham, drive up the female servant and her son, for the son of this female servant shall not inherit with my son, with Yishak. And the matter was very evil in the eyes of Abraham because of his son. But Elohim said to Abraham, let it not be evil in your eyes because of the boy and because of your female servant. Don't let it be evil, right? Sarai is your wife, right? Do as she said. She wants them gone. You have to let them go. But it will be fine. You will be okay. I promise you. I got you. That's the one thing that we have to remember. Yahuwah always has our back as long as we're being obedient to his word. And so it says, whatever Sarah has said to you, listen to her voice, for in Yishak your seed is called, right? He's going to make a nation out of him. And of the son of the female servant, I also make a nation because he is your seed, right? So the nations that Yahuwah is choosing are coming through Yishak, right? But he's also going to make great nations out of Ishmael, right? He's going to make 12 nations out of him too. He's going to bless the both of them, right? And so he's trying to assure Abraham, like, it's fine. It is fine. They will be fine, right? And Abraham rose early in the morning and took bread and a skin of water, which he gave to Hagar, putting it on her shoulder, also the boy, and sent her away. Now, when I read this, I was like, I know why he woke up early in the morning to give them bread and water. And he only gave them a little bit so that Sarah wouldn't notice. Because the thing is, if she would have been awoke and she would have seen, she was like, don't give them nothing. You know how women are. Don't give them nothing. Just send them on out with nothing. No food, no water. My food and my, you gonna give it to, no. And, you know, the head rolling and the finger wagging. But I'm assuming like that's why he got up early. He was like, I don't want no smoke with her, but I don't want to send my son and his mother out here with absolutely nothing, right? But he can only give them a little so that Sarah wouldn't really notice. And she left and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. And the water in the skin was used up, and she placed the boy under one of the shrubs. And she went and sat down by a bowshot away, for she said, let me not see the death of the boy. And she sat opposite him and lifted her voice and wept. And the thing is, I can't imagine being in that situation, right? Because it says that the water had been used up, but it doesn't say that the food has, right? You can survive longer without food than you can without water, right? Because our bodies are made up of like what, 70-80% water. Like, you need water. You can survive long periods of time without food, but you can't survive that long without water. And so I can't imagine, what she's going through and what she's dealing with, because, your son, your child is going to die. And it's like, you don't want to see them die. That's heartbreaking. As a mom who has a son, I can't imagine being in that situation, being literally destitute, not having anything, and, possibly your child dying. And Elohim heard the voice of the boy, and the messenger of Elohim called to Hagar from the heavens and said to her, what is the matter with you, Hagar? Do not fear, for Elohim has heard the voice of the boy where he is. Not that he heard her voice. He heard the voice of the boy of Ishmael. So he heard him, probably calling out to him. Basically he was raised right, right? He's probably calling out to him, probably weeping, you know, but he heard Ishmael's voice. Arise, lift up the boy and hold him with your hand, for I make a great nation of him. And that's the thing. She was already promised and told that Yahweh was going to make a great nation out of Ishmael. So why is she sitting here like she didn't forgot that that's what he said? He promised her. He made her a promise. He keeps his promise as long as you're obedient. And she was obedient. But at the end of the day, she lost faith and she lost trust. You know what I'm saying? And that's probably why they ran out of water. You know, only that Abraham also only gave them a little bit to see how far her faith would go, to see how far she would trust him. You know, and she forgot that quickly. Like, he said he was going to make a nation out of him. Why are you sitting here tripping? That's why he said, "What is the matter with you?" Like, didn't I say what I said? I said what I said. Like, what is? Why are you sitting here weeping and crying? For what? For what? Right? And Elohim opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the skin with water and gave the boy a drink. And Elohim was with the boy, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took a wife for him from the land of Mitzrayim, which is where she's from. Yeah, so she, she took somebody from her tribe, and that's who he married, right? And then later on, it talks about, the 12 nations of Ishmael. We're not going to get into that because, we're just talking about Hagar. But her story is more so, a lesson that we sometimes have to humble ourselves. We really have to humble ourselves and deal with a situation, no matter how trying the situation is. Just have faith and just have trust that Yahweh will get us out of that situation. He will. He will get us out of that situation. And he will make us a promise, but we have to be obedient. We have to be obedient. We have to trust him. We absolutely have to trust him that he's going to do what he promises that he's going to do. And we can't forget those promises, just like she did. She was like, he's going to die. I'm weeping. I'm hurt. I'm broken. But sometimes we can't see too far ahead. We only see in the moment. And a lot of things when it comes to Yahweh is things that are far ahead, that are in the future. We don't always look forward. We're always living like in the moment, right? And dealing with things in the moment, forgetting what we've already been told, what we've already been promised, but then a roadblock comes up and it just throws everything off kilter. And it's like, oh my gosh, we're panicking, we're having anxiety, we're going into a whirlwind. It's like complete chaos, right? Anytime there's a hitch, chaos. Anytime there's a hitch, like falling down on your face, crying out, and it's like, was probably looking at us like, what are you doing? Why get up, stand up, and that's what he's probably saying in those moments when he already told us what he's going to do, and we're sitting here crashing out, completely just crashing out. Remember his promises, even in times where it seems like it's just not going to work out.